Hi everybody, it's Pax. Today we're doing some custom deck building for the Kaimonogatari campaign by Toast Sushi or Mikima, as you might know her. The campaign comes with some custom player cards as well included in it. And since I'm using some of those, I thought I'd do a separate deck building campaign. I'm not going to be able to keep popping up my decks on Arkham DB because they have deck building requirements that don't cohere with anyone else's necessarily. So I'll just do a quick read of the custom cards just in the decks and any additional rules that they might require. The first investigator that I'm playing with here is Shinobu Oshino, the former vampire. She's a 3/2/5/2, 5/5. Each ally asset she controls gains linked. And what that means is that direct horror and direct damage can be dealt to those as if it was being dealt to her. So they basically have a shared pool that's essentially linked. Um, for example, this is her permanent ally that she has. That's her kind of a signature card and a weakness because, surprise, surprise. But he can't be dealt sanity because he doesn't have a sanity value. So that's kind of all of her allies get that. So she doesn't really have direct damage, and direct horror is not relevant for her when it comes to allies. She's a reaction after you defeat an enemy, eat its remains, and heal 1 damage. And her Elder Sign effect is if this test results in defeating an enemy, resolve that reaction ability an additional time. On the back of her, we'll do this. She's deck size 30, a trait choice, which lets you choose a trait. I'm choosing Spirit rather than Relic. And she gets Guardian cards, Neutral cards, and up to 10 other cards of the chosen trait 0 to 3. Then she gets her deck building requirements. Her first signature card is the Kokoro-Watari replica, the Oddity Slayer. 5 cost asset, 2 combat icons, 1 willpower, item, weapon, melee, relic, exceptional. A fight which deals +1 damage and gives you +1 combat, and this fast ability that lets you take 2 damage to exhaust this. 2 damage and exhaust this, and you may take an additional action during your turn, which can only be used to trigger the fight ability below. It is a 2-handed sword. So this is kind of her signature, or big one. The next signature she has is Koyomi Aragi over here, who's a half vampire. Like I said, he's a permanent. He's an ally vampire. Reaction after you heal 1 or more damage from him, you draw a card. Exhaust him to draw a card. And when he's defeated, you remove all damage from him and flip him to the half-dead version of him. You can't assign damage to him. You get -3 combat and a double action to flip him, then place 2 damage on him. So if he ends up getting defeated, you have to deal with the fact that he's going to come back and be very close to getting defeated again. A basic weakness, which was added to my deck. I'll just read it in order, I guess, this way. This is a custom basic weakness, Ataxia. Put in your threat area when you draw it. When your turn begins, lose an action, and free triggered ability. If it's in your threat area, take 2 damage. So someone else can't trigger that for you, is why it says that. And then her signature weakness is Princess Beauty. Revelation, Weakness Madness. Remove all damage from Koyomi Aragi, this guy, and flip him. If he's already flipped, take a horror and shuffle this back into your deck. So you need to clear this side of him pretty quickly. The rest of the deck... she also has additional requirements. She begins the game with this guy in play, and she actually has an upgrade for the Kokoro-Watari replica, which I'll go grab. Where is that? Place... Oh no, it's this one. Place the investigators. I had it set aside, but I don't know where I put it. Yeah, it's not up with this stuff. So this will be available later. It's an upgraded version that just it costs more. It's exceptional, so it costs 8 XP. It gets an additional wild icon. The fight gives you +2 combat instead of +1 combat. And the ability on it, instead of letting you trigger the ability again, lets you trigger a stronger version of that ability. +3 combat and +2 damage. And if it defeats an enemy, you ready this, so you could do it again. But you're going to be taking a lot of damage to do that. So that's obviously not in the deck yet. Like I said, that costs 8 XP to purchase. So that's that. The only other custom card that's in the deck is Episode over here. He's a ally Half vampire, 4 cost asset, 1 combat icon, ally, servitor, vampire. He's also linked. He's a fast ability, a free triggered ability. Discard episode, choose a non-elite enemy with 3 or fewer health remaining at your location or a connecting location. Defeat that chosen enemy. Forced, at the end of the round, you must either discard episode or deal 1 direct damage to him. So he can kind of like sit around for a little bit, but you gotta get rid of someone at the end of the turn. You gotta defeat an enemy with 3 or less health before he eats it, basically. So to me, he's kind of like a dynamite blast for a single target, is how I see him. That can also like be played a little preemptively if you need to. The rest of the deck is kind of standard fare. I've got flashlight, 2 flashlights, 2 scene of the crimes for a bit of clue help out. A live and learn, which is a kind of a clue help out, but more so insurance for my weapons. 2 glory, a bit of card draw, and 2 stand together, a bit of resources. We've got 2 Tetsuo Mori. Again, he'll be linked so that her direct damage can be dealt to him, and I can take damage from other investigators. And it'll let me search the decks for items, which is going to be important for both of these investigators, I believe. I've only got like 7 items in this deck, but the other investigator has a couple of items and a bit of a larger deck size, so it's important that I might be able to use that on her. She's the Hollowed Mirror for obvious reasons, with this little tiny health pool and this guy needing to get healed. Hollowed Mirror makes sense to me. I took 2 Perseverance. I thought that with the 5 horror and this possibly dealing me horror and really only having a starting pool of health of 8 and 5, which is less than most investigators. Most would get like 9 and 5 or 8 and 6, right? It's 1 less. I thought that maybe Perseverance would be handy for just making sure you don't die arbitrarily. Same with this dodge. So I got 2 Perseverance and 2 dodge. Plus the Perseverance, I also figured with Iragi giving me some card draw, that maybe the Perseverance would be able to double up as a Guts if I needed it desperately. And then I've got 2 Inspiring Presence, which I'm not sure if Inspiring Presence is the right call. It'll be an awkward situation where I like heal a damage off him with her ability, and then draw a card exhausting him, and then pass one of those types of tests, healing him again and readying him, and then using him again, right? I'm not sure if that's going to work. Maybe this should be what's it called? Second Wind, I guess. But I'm going to try this for now. I figure the combat tests are going to be passed pretty reasonably. I've got 1 Safeguard. Makes sense. 2 Enchanted Blade and 2 45 autos. 2 Overpowers, 2 Vicious Blows, 2 Episode, and that's her. So I'm pretty okay with this deck. Like I said, that being Second Wind, come the time I record the actual playing of the scenario, this might be Second Wind. I'm not sure. I'll let you know when I get there. The next investigator is going to be Hitagi Senjougahara, the graduate. She's a 3-4-2-2 and 7-7 for her health pools. She's a student. She has an action draw. Either draw 1 card or choose and discard 1 card from your hand. You may take an additional action during your turn, which can only be used to draw. And Elder Sign Effect 0, you may choose and discard 1 card from your hand to automatically succeed instead. These discard effects are going to make a lot more sense once we see. She has a lot more custom cards, as you might notice just from the card art here. But we'll do a quick flip. Deck size 35, so 5 additional cards. At deck creation, either choose Insight or No Trait. I'm choosing No Trait. If you choose Insight, you get Insight cards level 0 to 5, Survivor cards level 0 to 2, and Neutral cards 0 to 5. I'm choosing instead to have Survivor cards level 0 to 5, and up to 10 other Insight cards level 0 to 2, and obviously the Neutral cards. For her special deck building requirements, she gets 2 copies of Limitless Stationery, and this is an introspection type card, and this is kind of the lifeblood of this draw action that can discard a card from your hand. It's a 1-cost event. It cannot be played or committed from your hand, and when you play it, you discover a clue at your location. And as a reaction, after you've discarded this from your hand during your turn, play it, including the play cost of 1. So basically, she's got a couple of these in the deck. There's another one here and another one here. That when you basically get a free action every turn to either take a draw or play one of these is kind of where I'm at with that. Another thing that I'm going to be doing is trying to get winging it into the discard pile. So that's her first signature card. Her second signature card is Weightlessness, a 3-cost asset. Intellect, Combat, Wild icons. Talent. React after you discard one or more cards from your hand. Exhaust this to either draw a card or gain one resource. So it's just kind of like a nice long-term economy thing. Her signature weakness, is high-ranking cult member. 2 combat, 3 health, 2 agility. Prey, her only. Hitagi, only. And he has a new, I guess, was that a keyword rather than a trait? It's a keyword, Ambush and Hunter. So what Ambush does is, when he comes into play, when he engages you like during spawning, you immediately have to take either a basic fight or a basic evade test against him. If you fail, he immediately attacks you for his, damage and horror. If you pass, you get to apply the effects of a successful fight or evade. So there's a bit of an upside and a downside to it. It's an interesting mechanic. There's more specific rules that I'll kind of be keeping in mind for myself. There's a bunch of things about like what happens when they're ambush and massive, or what happens while they're ambush and aloof. But ultimately, when I draw him from my deck, I'm going to immediately fight and evade, and it's I either succeed or I take an immediate attack. And then he's a forced ability. After you draw one or more cards or discard one or more cards from your hand during your turn, while high-ranking cult members engaged with you, it attacks you. So I have to be careful. For example, take heart on a fight against him is going to make me draw cards, and then he'll attack me. So it's pretty tricky to deal with. The last is my basic weakness, which is another custom basic weakness. I plopped a couple of, where are they? They're amongst these, but this is the basic weaknesses from the whole game, plus the ones that are just from the set. I think there's 4 basic weaknesses added, and there's 2 copies of each, and I just happened to draw 2 of them from this set. So this is Immiseration, a basic weakness flaw. Put it into your threat area. When your turn begins, you must either lose 2 resources or discard an asset you control in a double action to discard Immiseration. So it's, double action weakness, basic weakness is kind of standard fare. It's nasty, but it's not the end of the world. And then we'll just do a quick once-over with her deck. I'll just start at the top and go through. I've got 2 Mariner's Compass. What I'm hoping for is a Mariner's Compass idea. With her 4 intellect, I was thinking, that'll be really nice. 2 old key rings, 2 winging it, 2 perception, 2 look what I found. There's my clue package. And then this is an additional piece to my clue package. This is a 2-cost event, double intellect icon, post-mortem examination. It's an insight, so that's one of my insights, non-survivor insights, up to 10. Play only if an investigator has defeated a monster or humanoid enemy at your location this round. Investigate, you get plus X, where X is the printed health of the defeated enemy, to a maximum of plus 5. If you succeed, discover 1 additional clue at this location. So I figured this is either double intellect icons, which is nice because as a survivor, I don't actually have a lot of static boosts. I don't have magnifying glasses. I'm not an off-class seeker. That's not what this is. So I need icons in the deck to be able to pass some tests occasionally. And then, like I said, another piece of my clue package here is the Limitless Stationary signature card. And then down here is kind of my economy stuff. Madame Lebranche, kind of a no-brainer if you're doing a Mariner's Compass build. I've got 1 copy of this card called Master of Disguise. Now, this one's really cool. 0-cost asset, 1 agility icon, talent. React. When you would pay the cost of a card, exhaust Master of Disguise. Instead, discard X other cards from your hand. X is that card's printed resource cost. X is that card's resource cost. If you do, the resource cost of that card is considered paid. So, one thing that I think I can do, and I'm pretty sure this is legit, is I can, discard a card with her ability. Say it's the Limitless Stationary, right? After I discard it, I can play it. And when I play it, I can use Master of Disguise to discard a different one of them. and then I can pay the cost of that to play it as well. So I think that that's kind of like a bit of a combo where I can do like a lot of things all in one action. So that's what I'm hoping this will do. And otherwise, it just lets me play stuff if I have no money. Because, again, Mariner's Compass, right? I might have no money. 2, Burning the Midnight Oil. I figure that'll be cool with Mariner's Compass. Again, it'll boost me up 2 resources to get 2 extra intellect. Crack the Case. My Guardian is pretty low on economy. I'm missing 2 emergency cash in here, which might be a huge mistake. Probably should have 1. So I might have to look at that too. But sharing the love is always good. 2 copies of Contemplation. This is another introspection card, which is the same 1 cost event, introspection, and it draws you 2 cards that you can play this after you've discarded it. 2 Take Heart. Again, 2 Fight and 2 Agility, and 3 Willpower is not great for the Mythos phase, so this might get me just some free money and resources to rocket through my deck a bit faster. And if not, if I do pass the test, then it's kind of like guaranteeing a 0 or a +1 or an Elder Sign, right? So, yeah. And then down here is kind of my survivability / getting shit done otherwise, not through clues. This is, and I'm so sorry about these pronunciations, Oigi Oshino, the Enigmatic Accomplice, a 4-cost asset, 1 willpower, ally cursed, linked, so those count as direct health pools. You get +1 willpower. When you would fail a skill test, exhaust Oigi Oshino and discard 2 cards from your hand. You get +2 skill value for this test. So this is like a lucky on demand, but it's costing me cards instead of money, right? So she's kind of like an extra, she's kind of like a Granny Orn figure for me, and that's what I like about that. I've got 2 copies of Fire Axe, just in case I need to kill this guy and Shinobu. Oh god, I'm so sorry as well for the names. It's going to be really hard for me to internalize those because they're new. But if I need to do some damage to him, then I can. If I need to do some damage to a guy that pops out, I can. 2 copies of Liquid Memories. This is another introspection that when you've played it, you may take an additional action during your turns. That's pretty cool. This one I think is best used with the Master of Disguise or with Oigi? No idea. 2 copies of Mind Over Matter. I figure 4 is better than 2 in most instances. This is probably getting upgraded to an upgraded Mind Over Matter, though. To add 4 to those, so there's 6s. That's probably like a priority upgrade, because this is really not that great, but I needed something to be defensive. 2 Live and Learn. Again, this is somewhere between a defensive card and an offensive card with the Investigates. If this fails, that's really nice. If this fails, that's really nice. If this fails, well, I'm losing my +3 that I might have got, but at least I have +2 and I can still get 2 clues if I succeed. And last but not least, a Resourceful. I figure Resourceful might be good for picking some of these back up, actually. That's not that one, but this one. These might be all good to pick back up. As might, look what I found. You're kind of normal, your normal suspects of cards that are good to pick back up. So that is Hitagi as well. I think I'm pretty excited about these decks. I think they're okay. I haven't actually put hers together. I'm gonna leave these over here actually, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go like that with them, and that way when I go to play this scenarios and upgrade between them, I can use this as like my Arkham DB deck builder, and do it. There's a couple of cards up here that I've set aside. These are like some level 0 cards that were options for the Guardian, and these are the custom cards that are available for each of them. There's some really cool stuff here. There's a couple things I didn't take. I'll just like flash them up on the screen really quick. This is like a card draw, a weapon searcher, a parlay that makes your fights better, and a thing that makes you immediately fight someone when they spawn. And then a couple of upgraded cards that are all kind of in the same vein of like taking damage for effects or preventing damage or healing damage back. A really cool weapon and an auto success skill for Guardian, but you take a bunch of damage to do it. And then down here, the only level 0 card I'm not using is this Undeterred, which it lets you cancel some auto fails, but it seemed really expensive for what it did, and I wasn't too into it. There's some more introspections. There's one more introspection, which is either damage or an auto evade, so I'll definitely be getting that early in the campaign. Some card draw stuff, an exile card, which is really cool looking and kind of tempting to try a deja vu idea. An upgraded Oigi, which is gives you an agility as well, and you can discard up to 3 cards to get +1 value for each card discarded. So it's a bit more flexible on that like lucky value. And then an opening hand asset permanent. But anyways, that's just like some things to think about upgrading later. Pretty excited to get this campaign underway. Thank you very much for watching if you're interested in this deck building. Otherwise, I'll just see you in the actual play in a couple minutes, I guess. Bye.